Hello, everyone. Welcome to another BBA podcast. Today, I'm joined by two-time BBA champion Raja,
Hey,
Huzaifa Raja, and
what's
committee
up?
member Hatim Bootwala. I don't know how many champions do you have you ever won? One.
I got one.
NBA champion Hatim
That
Bootwala.
was that T Sizzle team, right, Boot?
Exactly.
The
Yes.
Followed
Canadians.
by Sizzle and Yamani.
So first, I would like to thank Canada and Toronto for hosting us. It was a great tournament. So if you want to shout out the Canadian sponsors.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Hatem.
You want me? Okay. Yeah. So I'd like to thank the Canadian sponsors. Obviously for every tournament, without any of the sponsors, no tournament ever exists. Um, and the three big ones that, helped out for our tournament for Toronto, they've helped out with many other tournaments, Caliber, My Java, and Westlake Tire. So a big shout out to you guys for making it happen. And we hope for your continued success moving forward.
Yeah, I mean this sponsorship money really allows the committee to enhance the experience, whether it's the swag or the food. And so I mean the basketball is the basketball and that's always going to be there, but all these things just kind of make the experience so much better. And
And
I think
you hear it from the players like every year. They're like, "Oh my God, we
yeah.
got this time. Oh my God, we got it," and they don't know about in the background like why that's happening, right?
Right, right.
Like
Even
I
the
remember,
quality of the jerseys and now
Yep,
it's like
just
jerseys and
like
shorts
still
and the
wearing.
sweatshirts. Yeah, I mean that's stuff that we wear all year round. So it's just a nice thing to have. It's not even just good for the tournament, but it's like good
the cool
stuff
thing
to
that kind
have
of
afterwards.
the byproduct that kind of came off of this was like everyone talks about what are we gonna get next year? You know?
Yeah,
I remember we got basketballs. The basketballs were like one of the best, right? Like
Yeah.
I still
yeah,
use my name is rubbed off of it. That's how much I use it.
yeah,
But
yeah. I haven't played basketball enough post BBA this year, but I do like the bags that we got this year with that little
yeah,
basketball holder on it. That's a cool thing.
care of Mad Sports. Thank you very much for that, Mufu.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
The
was a
Um,
bags
good
were
idea.
how has Toronto been? How has the response been there for a post tournament?
with the Toronto players.
Hmm.
I mean, the Toronto players for us, I haven't heard anything negative. Just some of the, a few negatives that I heard regarding the facility, which I know we're probably going to get into later on. But for the most part, because we play there a lot, we know how the courts are, right? But in terms of the tournament, in terms of the crowd that came, we weren't expecting that many people to show up, which kind of led to an issue while on the court. But there was a lot of people because I know Masjid, like the Toronto Masjid, they had an event. They had some sort of picnic. But still people showed up, right? So if you're talking about in terms of, popularity of how the tournament went over here, I think it was really good. It went really well.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
agree.
did most people enjoy it? Like, how was the
Most
post?
people enjoyed it. And, like you see it in Chicago all the time when you see like people rooting for their favorite player or their favorite, some of their friends are on the team. So that's the same thing that kind of happened over here. Um, Now I know a lot of the Toronto guys were kind of separated into different teams, whether they're in the G League or whether they're in the main league. But in the finals, you can really hear them cheering on whoever they were cheering for, right? So and that's what myself when I organize tournaments over here, that's the one thing that I kind of look for is will the spectators come? And because without the spectators, you don't get that aura, you don't get that sense of, like atmosphere that you kind of hope for. And I think I'm pretty sure it happened. Like it was loud. It was loud there. You couldn't hear the whistle half the time. So I think it went well. And speaking to the other players from here, they said the same thing.
Mhm. And I
What did
want to
you guys think?
welcome
I should ask
Chris.
you guys, what did you guys think being the outsiders?
I thought it
I
was
had a great
awesome.
time.
Yeah. I think you guys did an awesome job hosting and put it's a huge undertaking. So, I thought it was well organized and there's some feedback and like good and bad. And I think one of the points of this call is to kind of go through that and kind of see what kind of feedback people had. positive or negative, and just kind of talk about that stuff. But for the first time hosting, awesome.
I want to welcome Qusai to the pod. So,
What's up,
Hey
Q?
guys, how's everyone doing?
What's up? How was soccer?
Uh, Lost in penalties in the semifinals, man.
Oh, brutal.
It, but
Worse.
it was fun. It was fun. It was
Yeah.
great turnout. Just to comment on what Hatim was saying, I think the hospitality that Toronto showed, welcoming all of us, um, and you guys, had a full community show up and be there and support us. It was really special. Um, I mean, one of the beauties of BBA going to these different cities, Orange County did the same. It was a great atmosphere there. Um, I think Houston also showed its hospitality when people came down. But Toronto was special, and the fact that there was so many new talent that we were able to tap into or see because of hosting the event in Toronto. That was special. And but can't wait for it to be back in Chicago because those as
Yeah.
Hatim said, the Toronto people had some upper hand with the familiarity with the court. I think we've played in Chicago so long and been used to Chicago that we've come to somewhat of it being a second home for us, BBA wise or basketball wise. So yeah, I look forward to it happening in Chicago again soon. I don't think we've decided on a venue yet for next year, but wherever it is, yeah, it'll be fun.
All right, man, let's get into it, man. Let's get into some of these survey results. Bootwalla or Baiji, what do you got? Let's start with some good feedback.
um, so yeah, so one of the questions that we always ask was, did you have enough playing time? So most people are, because of the minimum restrictions, they are satisfied with their playing time. So 88% of the survey responders said on Saturday they were satisfied with their playing time, and 89% on Sunday. And then we still have 87% would like minimum minutes required. So we did a focus this year to continue to penalize teams that did not have all the teams have all players made minutes required. So that will continue because we're seeing that the feedback is that, the players want this.
But I think, Thayer, one thing that I noticed, I mean, you might answer it act more accurately, but if I recall, I think this year there was a lot less penalties to teams on the minute restrictions that we had to enforce. There was very few games that we had to go and change the scores, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so there was one, so Huzaifa Kanch, he was a first time captain. And so some of his games he wasn't able to play. And then there was also a few weird circumstances where a player had like an emergency or something, and we had to like talk through that. So there was still a couple cases, but overall I would say it was lower than previous years.
Yeah.
Which seems
Yeah,
to be
and
working. It's going in the right direction.
it is worth noting that like this year had the most teams that we've ever had for BBA. So I mean that's also added logistical challenge and kind of spacing out playing time for everybody. So I'm glad that that amount of people said that they were happy with the playing time that they got. That's a good thing.
Um,
Hopefully they come back.
Yeah, and then kind of the next big topic of discussion was the G League. So every year the G League continues to improve. And now this year we had four G League teams. So we finally kind of had them play each other in their own conference.
I think we had
And
six,
then
didn't we?
No, we had 6 G League teams this year.
Six G League teams. So yeah, so they were able to play each other in their own conference and host a tournament, and then the top team of the G League ended up playing a playing game against the lowest seed of the main tournament. And so we asked about that decision, and overall there was a lot of positive feedback on that decision, where the G League is separate from the main league, but then also luckily people favored the play-in game.
Yeah, I thought the G League, yeah, it served like multiple purposes, right? One for young guys to get some experience and playing, and then some for like the older guys who just want to be in the tournament and just play basketball, even if it's at whatever level they're at. So it's a good thing. I like
Uh,
the
a third
evolution
a,
of it.
a third option I saw this year for G League was like there was, because of the so much of the unknown of talent, that those players ended up in the G League, and they had a place to showcase their talents that, obviously next year, if they were to sign up, they would be being, if either drafted or auctioned or however the format be, they would easily make it into the main league.
Yeah, I would say more so than in previous years, you're going to see more guys jump from the G League into the main league next year.
The good thing about the G League was we were just talking about the playing minutes that I don't think when we were doing the recap after Saturday night that the G League had playing minute issues because I know a lot of players, no one actually complained saying I never got any playing minutes, I never got any playing minutes. So I think in that way it's really good that you're coming there, you're getting your money's worth, and you're getting a lot of playing minutes, right? And then who knows what happens whether you win it, whether you go into the main league and you win it that way or get in that way. So I think the G League was it's a big step up, I believe, from last year.
So I'm just throwing this out there right now. If we're talking about playing minutes, so in this year's soccer tournament, um, similarly, like in all tournaments, there's people come. There's finite number of minutes a game can be played, and due to schedule and stuff, and you want to get everyone's people the bang for their buck. So this year in soccer, they introduced, or the rule that they had was that the six the six round robin or league matches that all teams were going to have, that all players had to play an accumulative of, I think it was like 75 minutes throughout those games. Each game was 24 minutes long. So as long as the total, so the 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 assessment of penalty didn't happen until the playoffs. So each captain had to decide that, okay, I might play this one player this whole game, or spot minutes here or there. you know is that something you think would fly in BBA? That, because we typically, I think we've agreed, or the last few years we've settled on only 4 round robin games, and that's not that much, guaranteed. But we do have technically the playoffs where you're guaranteed 2 games because of double elimination, that you have 6 games over the weekend. Would there be a number that you think would be justified or okay for everyone, that, hey, yeah, if we played 60 minutes over the 6 games total, we'd be happy or something? What do y'all think?
What I like about that idea, Kusei, is that like instead of like guaranteeing 5 minutes per game, saying like it's 20 minutes per Saturday. then you can kind of distribute those minutes how you want. Maybe they play fewer than 5 in one game, but then they play 10 in another game. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility in how you want to do it. Um,
I guess the other way of looking at it is what if the captain doesn't put that player on, but he's reached his limit of playing, minimum playing minutes, and then doesn't get to play another game? Like, I don't know. I could just see it kind of backfiring in a way.
Yeah, there's like so the penalty if in soccer that they had was that if the player did not reach its minimum minutes after the six round robin games, then the captain would miss the playoff game, the full playoff game.
How did they do the stat tracking? Was it a referee that would know who was subbing on and off, or was there actually like,
No, there was a person doing stats, and you had to go to the person to from the stats to check in. Like there wasn't just random subbing. You had to go to the stat tracker, and the ref would call in the subs, and when the subs come in, the stat tracker would switch the players out.
Yeah, I just feel like it'll be a nightmare to enforce and keep track. And then also for basketball, since there's so much switching, like the stats and minutes are kind of questionable sometimes as well. So those are just some issues that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, it was just something I we tried out here. I was just thinking, do you think it would work in basketball?
Something for the committee to discuss.
yeah. All right,
Um,
man. Let's move on to some more feedback. You got anything else, Baiji, for the good stuff?
um, Yeah, so I mean, overall, people enjoyed the tournament. Food was consistently high marks. Swag was consistently high marks. Refs were mixed, but they're always mixed. So it's a good spread from all over. Um, and then yeah, I think the swags always have high marks as well. Um, so yeah, so kind of shifting into some other feedback. Most of the negative feedback was on the facilities. The main two
The
things was the no space between the courts and then no water. And then also people were surprised on the FIBA courts they with the 3-point line being FIBA. Um, so yeah.
yeah, like Bootwala, you didn't know that there were FIBA courts
no, I did know.
when you
That's the whole thing, but
why did you
I
tell
never,
everybody?
I never, when we looked at the facilities, right? There's not, I mean, the one thing was we had to find a facility that had four courts, right? Which is
Yeah,
not an easy task, right? And the ones that we did find were the FIBA ones. Like I said, when we play over here, these are the courts we play on. So for us, it was just second nature, right? And when we come to BBA in Chicago, I get for me personally, I mean, I don't check how far the 3-point line is. I just go for it.
yeah,
But that was something that I found out later on that the courts were bigger than what we would normally play on. And if I had, I guess, known about, I guess, I don't know. I know Abbas Hussein had mentioned it beforehand, but the facility was already booked. He goes, "Are these FIBA?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're going to be bigger 3-point lines." And
oh, wider paint.
yeah, right. So I didn't know
Yeah,
that would actually be an issue because I don't know what it is in the States when you guys are always playing. Are you guys playing on what is it, high school courts? Are they like,
yeah, high school,
I don't know the size
college.
difference, right? So
Yeah, it's like it's significant. And even like some of the rules the refs were calling, they're like, well, that's a FIBA rule. We're like, dude, how are we supposed to know any of this stuff?
yeah, and I mean
Well,
we sent them the rules.
the rules that the refs are calling, well, that's just, I mean, we had given our set of rules, and they were supposed to be calling the same rules that we've always been calling. So
Yeah,
that's a a ref not knowing his rules properly
yeah,
or not doing his job properly. But yeah, the court, um, yeah, even I think it was Hatim, you mentioned it to the committee, um, and then but it was like 2, 3 weeks away from the tournament, and I don't know if we sent out a message or not, if it
Yeah,
got
see
lost.
that was my issue, right? Like if you knew that the courts were longer, like if that was at least communicated to everybody. Because I mean, for me, I just showed up and I'm like, oh, this paint is like huge and this 3-point line is further away. And you know, when you're practicing one thing and then you show up and you have to like do something else, then it's a little bit more
Yeah,
difficult.
it makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And that's
I
I
did
guess
not
that's it.
notice. I did not notice
Well, if you
the
get the 3-pointers in, then you'd probably notice. No, but
yeah.
this is constructive criticism of something. If Toronto ever hosts it again, obviously we'd find a different facility that has 4 courts, smaller courts, things like that. But
Or we
there's
just inform players that it's going to be FIBA.
yeah.
We did. It was not on our radar going to. We like I didn't even know that there was a difference between. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, I know there's a high school and college difference and NBA difference. I just didn't know that we consistently played on one type.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like certain assumptions you make when you like show up and then it's like
Yeah.
imagine you show up and they're like, all right, we're not playing with a ball, we're gonna play with a cube, and then you just gotta play with it. So
Like for example, Qusai in Houston, like the courts there, was it
I'd still make it with the
the same
cube.
like Chicago, or was it
Yeah, so in the States, I think all high school and college dimensions are same. So the
but the
courts
one
that I
that
think,
we the BBA we played in that facility in Houston, do you remember if that was the same as
yeah,
uh
it
was
had high school lines on there.
okay.
So
yeah. Plus,
Something
like about that facility, like the air circulation wasn't great either. You
yeah.
know, and I
So
think that's like when you use these like converted warehouses,
yeah.
that's kind of what you get sometimes, as opposed to like a proper gym.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a big community center, then obviously you get the good ventilation and all that. And these converted warehouses, I don't think will spend the money to put all that HVAC system in there. But it's something to know for next time. Where if BBA says Toronto, you're hosting it again, then for us to find a much more updated facility. Uh,
Actually, Hatem, like this actually doesn't just apply to Toronto, right? It'll apply to any
yeah,
place,
I mean
right? Going
honestly,
forward.
besides Chicago, the other two places, the other venues were not. They were also converted warehouse, or they weren't like gyms. California or Orange County wasn't, and
Hmm.
neither was Houston. I think the city tournament that happened in Austin, that was like a gym facility, so it had better circulation, it had higher ceilings, good HVAC system. But
Yeah.
I mean, hands down, I mean, the facilities that we have in Chicago and that Chicago has to offer, you can't beat them. Um, that's one of the reasons why consistently we kept uh, making Chicago the venue for BBA. Um, and it would be the best venue moving forward as well. But every once in a while, switching it to Toronto, to a Houston, California, heck, even maybe East Coast, it it changes it up. It opens it up to new audiences, new people. Um, one of the things about it happening in Toronto, just it opened up to so many other Muminin realizing that this type of event happens yearly, annually, and there's so many Muminin who are interested in BBA or basketball. So that's one of the benefits of us rotating, in these different cities. But if we could do it every year in Chicago, I think that would be ideal.
What other feedback did you get, Hatim or
What the other
YG?
feedback, which could have been rectified, was the water situation.
Oh man, that was brutal, man.
They had that one water fountain, but it was slow, and then something happened on the second day where the fuse
Yeah.
went, and then what happened was my cousin, big, we call him Big Show, he him and uh Zane
Zane.
Zane went to Costco to actually buy
Yeah.
all these bottles of water. They had tons of them. And brought it to the facility, but as they were coming back, the water fountain got fixed, so we were kind of told, okay, just go return all the water, or else we would have had it outside anyway. So that's yeah, that's a facility issue, but that could have been easily fixed, type of thing. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we try to manage that every year anyways. With being able to try to bring in coolers and giving our own having, access to water. Obviously, we want to keep in mind about israf and wastage, and typically when we give plastic bottles and stuff, there's a ton of wastage. So that's why we've typically stayed away from that in years. And unfortunately, there was that incident with the facility's water system not working, and it was a little bit of a drag on players. So, but those are things that we have to fix on the fly. And we sent the team to go get water, and if the water system hadn't started, we would have had water outside for everyone.
yeah, so that's something that we could have been fixed, but we just kind of went backwards on it. But it's, again, another thing to know for next time. Have
And
that backup.
that's that space, like there was like no space on the sideline, man. That was crazy also. Um between like the scorers table and one of the courts and between like the fans were like standing on the court in the 3-point line
Yeah.
sometimes.
So I think that issue really started happening toward on the second day when the quarters and the semis, and when more and more people started
Yeah.
coming, right? There wasn't an issue on the first day. I didn't hear anyone complaining, get out, move out of the way.
Well, it was like
Maybe there
harder
was,
to, yeah, it was
but
harder to
I
move between games too, you know what I mean? Like to like say, okay, I want to watch a little bit of this game and then go over here and watch a little bit of this game. That was like hard too. And that was kind of the case in California also.
right.
Yeah.
Which comes back to having an actual community center or an actual gym where
Yeah.
they purposely lay it out that way, rather than they've built it that way, rather than you getting a warehouse and kind of having to build within
Just
that skeleton.
cramming as many courts in there. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
possible.
which like I said, like that was a bad thing, where there were too many people around, but in a way it was a good thing because it showed that the community was coming out to watch the games, like, which is the whole point of going to all these different cities, like Qusai is saying. Like if you go to New Jersey next, or back to Chicago, or Houston or whatever, you want, like, I had parents like of kids coming to me and said, "Thank you so much for hosting it here. This is our first time coming to it, and I've never seen a tournament this big." Right?
Oh,
Like BBA by far is like the biggest, I think is the biggest tournament. I haven't been to NFL, MFL. Um, I don't know. Houston soccer, I haven't been yet. Hopefully next year, but for BBA, I know it's huge, and to me, I think that's the biggest one. Kusei, maybe you can attest that you've been to MFL and soccer. And
Yeah, I mean, I think this year MFL had a close, had had a had their biggest turnout too. Raja, how many teams were there this year in MFL?
I think 14. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean like 14 and then like what 11 per team. So I mean
yeah.
there was a lot.
There, I
we
mean,
had 18,
but yeah,
we had
team
18,
team
right?
wise, team wise, yes. I think BBA definitely has had the highest teams so far. Um, and has anyone mentioned? Did any feedback come about the slanted roof, and when you're playing on those two side courts, if you shot those really moon shots like Malum does, you'd be hitting the ceiling.
We have
Yeah,
not
there were
mentioned.
That's also a problem. Yeah.
yeah, there was a few comments I saw from a few people on that one, and I did see that a couple of times. Um, but like Todd, like what you said, right? Majority of the people said that there was no issues with it. There was a handful of people that did have an issue, and some of the comments were about the roof as well, the ones who shoot it to space and back. But majority of the time, the times that I've been watching the games, the times I've been playing in the game, I didn't see any balls hitting it, but a few times I did. And I know on the left side of the courts, those two courts, those are the ones that were the culprits, basically.
Is that why your 3-point percentage was so low, Qusai? Is because of the ceiling?
Nah, I blame the FIBA courts, but yeah, my muscle memory was for a foot inside the
Yeah.
3-point arc.
Yeah, that's a big difference, man. Whole foot difference.
Okay, Qusay is going
Um,
to the gym now, so now he can shoot them from further.
Yeah, man. Now he's doing all that CrossFit, dude. You should be able to launch him from half court.
Swish, baby, every time.
I think BBA should have that rule too, just like the NBA, that you know, end of
Yeah,
clock shots shouldn't count against people's shooting percentage.
it's a good rule.
most people don't even register that shot on stat tracking. We're not that even good
So
enough.
excited.
Um,
Like, oh shit, we're supposed to stat track.
well, so some of the things positive that came out from the facility is we've had a board meeting and we've developed a minimum facility checklist. So moving forward, I can actually pull up
Yeah,
the
you shared this. This is good, Dyer.
um, let me just okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the BBA checklist. So we're gonna aim for high quality courts, minimum of four moving forward because we have 20 teams. We're trying to ensure that we have proper scoreboards. Um, and then we want high quality restrooms, a hydration station, one per court, and then adequate seating and viewpoints for guests and visitors. So these are our minimum requirements. And then nice to have is that we'll look for, but not guarantee, is ample parking, a multi-purpose room, showers, a decent area for namaz, an viewing deck. That's particularly a couple facilities in Austin and Chicago, and then trying to make it, convenient for people to travel from airports, and then all courts under one roof and ample spacing between them.
I got a comment about the high quality of courts. I'm just biased on because we play here. So when I hear high quality of courts, or if the courts are low quality, that tells me that the courts, the you're running on is no good. It's dusty. You're slipping all the time. If I see the rims are broken, if the mesh is not even on the court, to me that's what I hear as quality of courts. Now, spacing is not a quality issue. Spacing is just a requirement in terms of how people can sit comfortably. That's if I were to read that, that's how I would read that.
Oh,
So
really? I see it differently. Go ahead, finish out there. I'll,
no, yeah. So if like what I'm saying, like I've been on courts where the floor is terrible. Like
yeah.
like you get a groin injury or you can't there's no grip on your shoes. That to me is a bad court. Now, I didn't see anything in the feedback of anyone complaining about the court of like that or the rims are being bad or anything like that. Yeah, the scoreboard. Okay, we don't have the scoreboard. This court didn't. This facility didn't have the scoreboard on the wall like they would have in Chicago. I get that part, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, and also just just to cut in, this is not like commenting on the Toronto carts at all. This is just like from the ground level up. If we were to picture ourselves in an ideal situation, this is what we would want to have minimum, and then these are the things that we would like to have. So it's
Yeah.
not like in response to Toronto or SoCal or Houston. This is just like moving forward, what we want to do, what our checklist is for scouting out a new location in Detroit, for example. This is the stuff that we want to check.
Cool.
Jose, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was like, for quality of courts, it is like it's weird, but it's like kind of the material of the court. Like one of the years it was in Chicago, it was like kind of like a rubbery court, and then
Yeah, I think that
some
was Lamont or
Lamont,
something.
yeah, it was Lamont, and then even just like I don't know, I guess there's like a difference in the quality of hardwood, um, when you're
Yeah,
playing.
I mean
So
we've had that feedback. I think where Downers Grove has been the best, I think, court in Chicago. I think we've one time we did it in Bolingbrook and Lamont, and Lamont had more of a rubbery feel to it, and
right,
Bolingbrook's hardwood was a little, you know, little dusty, or we
right,
needed
right.
we needed to get it cleaned every few games and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I that when I'm thinking of quality of court, I'm thinking things like that of how the hardwood is or how the floor is. Is it dusty or not? Can I get traction on it or whatnot? And um, are the rims good and stuff like that.
Yeah, but this checklist is good to have. I mean, these sets a bar as to like what, because all this stuff, like all these things, I mean, it kind of goes back to like one overarching thing as like player experience and making that as good as possible. So like those are all good kind of things to add. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what people are going to talk about for years to come, right? Oh, you remember when we played on this court? It was so nice, and the
yeah,
like things were close by. There were things. If we wanted to go out,
yeah,
spectators can want to go shopping or go eat somewhere. They can just, it's not far. It's not driving an hour away type of thing.
yeah. Or if the conversation isn't about the courts, then the courts were good,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so,
Exactly.
like, if we're talking more about like the actual games in the basketball, then then it means that they picked a good court and a good
There,
venue.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on one thing that we saw in the survey was about the question of under 30, over 30. I think that was the age.
Hmm.
Mm.
Uh, the ones I noticed that were saying no to that were the younger players. And the younger players, I guess, wanted to play with the with the OGs for whatever reason. I guess they just need to prove themselves that we're next on the block. This is my court now. Uh, but me personally speaking, I voted to have that just because a couple of reasons. One, you know, more playing time, I guess. Number two, um, it's the guys that have played with each other for like 10, 12 years all get to play against each other or for each other, with each other, right? That camaraderie. I think that's what it really comes down to. And I think it'll be cool to have that moving forward.
Yeah, just the pipeline of young talent is so solid right now, and that's like an encouraging thing. And so, yeah, at
Yeah.
some point they just become, um, it just evolves, and the game evolves, and
Actually, Tyre,
becomes.
would you have that stat of how many players were over 30 and under 30?
We don't have that data, but that is something we are looking into.
Yeah, because that'd be
The exact demographic breakdown. So yeah, where there are discussions of doing a 35 plus tournament that is being considered. Right now we're kind of in the research period. One of the, I guess, counterpoints for that is that maybe that could be like a separate thing, but for the main BBA, the thing that brings everyone together is regardless of age, you want skill level to be the top priority. And then
Yeah.
also there's a special blend of a championship needs youth, it needs age, it needs, like everything. So you don't get that mixing of young and old in a 35 plus tournament. And then you lose a little bit of like that mentorship and
Yeah.
that community building from the main tournament. But that, I guess that brings us to the next question is what's the future of BBA? Do we need to have an older tournament to keep the guys who are older involved, or do we need to get younger? Like what's the future looking like?
Like my opinion there is that like just the the role, like as these young guys kind of take over, which they already have, it's like the roles of the older guys will have to change and we'll just have to adapt, right? So it's like we won't be able to play as many minutes or whatever, and we'll just have to kind of find a new role on the team. And I think that's just kind of the natural progression of it. So it doesn't mean that like we should just start a new league because like we can't score, 20 points a game anymore.
I think the future of BBA has already started a couple years ago, where when you start expanding to different cities, getting new people. Like I know one of the criticisms was for Toronto was, you know, why should we host it in Toronto if they haven't been coming to other cities, right? I've heard that before from a few players, right? Why should we do it? Do they deserve it? Type of thing. But I think the one benefit that came out of it coming here, like you said, the future. Now all these players, we had like I think 25 players or so, something from here, who are now really excited. Like they're asking me when's the next Northern Classic gonna happen, right? Which mean that none are trying to figure out. Okay. And they're more asking me than they were the years before. And then some of them are asking me, do you know where the next BBA is gonna be? Who never played before. Right. So I think the future has already started. Like your question is, where's the future of BBA? It's already started. People are already coming. There's more players coming and more younger players coming.
So I have a question. Do you think the future involves more main teams or more G League teams? Like say it seems like the capacity is like 20 teams here, right? Like it'll be tough to go above that. But then it's like how do you distribute the main teams versus the G League teams? So do you
I
see
mean,
these older guys kind of funneling into the G League and saying, okay, this is the right amount of competition for me? Or does the G League get smaller as those players just get better and evolve into, being competitive in the main league? Or is six a good number?
I think
Yeah.
I think I think six is a good number for G League. Uh, and the hope is right. G League is for that that 14, 15-year-old kid who's coming up, who's starting middle school basketball or who's picking up the sport for them to showcase and kind of
But Qusay, there
because
was a lot of older guys in the G League too this year.
well yeah there was and I think I think it made G League uh more competitive as well because there was that mix of talent in G League as well compared to future past years because in the past it was just a bunch of kids who had no idea of what to do. I think that first year of G League we had kind of tried to have like coaches from the main league. Like I remember, I think that Tahir, you were a coach for one team. Yusuf and Amir kind of tried to be a coach for a couple of G League teams, and because we had to guide those kids on, well, what do you need to do, what's the strategies and the game plans. um Honestly, like, yeah, I think 20 teams is probably going to be with current, unless we expand it to a 3-day weekend and have a 3-day tourney, um, with the confines of a weekend, I don't think we can do more than
No.
20 teams. It's just I think player safety, player health, venue, just you know doesn't make it feasible.
Raja, I think back to your point, you said there were a lot of older guys that were in the G League. I think the caveat to that was because who the captains were this year, there were a lot of younger guys. A lot of the younger guys have picked, I guess, the people that everybody knows, like the Hustlers and the Yusuf Alis and the Qasims and Mustan and all these guys. But then the older guys like Amr Poonawala and my brother, like normally they would be in the main league, but I guess these guys didn't know them and they're like, well, I'm not picking them. I'm going to pick my friends or pick someone young
Yeah.
or something like that. And then these
Yeah.
guys got automatically shoved into the G League, right? Where as of before, where if you were a captain or Adnan or, all these older guys were captains, they would pick their friends and whatever, right? And
Yeah. So this
kind
is
of,
the natural progression of it, right?
yeah,
That like ultimately and like I would imagine next year some of the older guys would be like, you know what, the level, I just want to be a part of it. And so like you'll see a lot of older guys, I think, opting just into G League only.
yeah. Hence going back to the 35 under 35 league. Or not
Yeah.
league,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But I think definitely some of the questions that we're thinking about is that, at what point how can we get the old people who are aging still involved in BBA, coming out to the tournament, playing? Because the purpose of the nonprofit, right, is the health um, of the Dowdy Bora community, right? So more than winning basketball, which is fun, we also want to long term, we're thinking about how do we through basketball keep people healthy while they age into 40, into 50. So that is something that we're thinking about and that we're gonna try to you know we don't want to lose people and have it just be younger players. So yeah,
Yeah.
it won't ever become that, I think.
Yeah, I'll still keep playing as long as people draft me.
Keep making finals, dude.
Well,
Yeah,
do you
but
want to captain a G League team?
Every single year.
I need to stop losing. I'm getting like a LeBron record of
He's
losses
gonna
in the
he's gonna pull
final.
the I
Yeah.
got a sciatica on my back and he's gonna pull that coming out right now. My back, I can't play. I can't win.
Yeah.
So I guess this is kind of something that I wanted to talk about and that we'll probably also talk about in the next podcast. But as we age and get older, how do we stay in shape for BBA? What are you doing, Kusai, to stay in shape and get ready for next BBA? And how do we adjust as we get older into new roles?
I mean, I've always kind of gone by a philosophy that the day you stop playing is the day you become old. So I try to be active, however I can. From because back to what you said, right? The riyazat that we do, the activities that we do, obviously it you see the effects in sports and you're able to play and stuff, but you see it in your daily life of I'm not I can I'm when I'm praying namaz, I'm not having to sit on a chair or something, or I'm doing something with my kids. I'm not huffing and puffing after like 10 minutes in the playground, like, hey, and I'm being you're able to be involved in your family's life. You're able to be involved in the community. and you're able to do the things that some of our elders, because they didn't take care of themselves, they didn't take care of their health, you know, their 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 lives deteriorated a lot faster. So it's all about, staying active and doing the things that you need to do right now so that later on you're able to do the things that you want to do.
Kusei, or Dyer, do you have any idea or runner-ups of where the next BBA is going to be held? What cities?
Yeah, so we are accepting bids. So Chicago, Houston, Detroit, are being considered. And then I'm gonna throw in Austin in there too.
And Tyre Baiji has a soft spot for Texas. He's one of those Californians who want to, move to Texas.
Relocate.
I'm good. I,
I'm a
I,
Democrat.
Oh,
But yeah, we're looking. We've been, as Tyre said, we've been engaging with the locals in those cities, looking at facilities, checking on dates, availabilities, and inshallah, we'll figure out something sooner rather than later and make an announcement. So,
you
So,
uh,
know,
speaking
I
speaking on dates, do you have an like a? I know you don't have an exact date, but like a month or anything of when it would most likely kind of be? Would it be in August again? I know it depends on it'll be after Ashura. I know that much, but
yeah, so ideally we want to give as much time after Ashara, um, for the event, so people have the ability to, if they went to Mullah's Hazrat, or they're traveling and stuff, that they had the ability to get back into a routine before BBA. But then we also have to keep in mind, we have to we can't do too much after Ashara because we want to not keep it that close to MFL, which typically they do it in mid-September or stuff like that. Um, and then also another up and coming tournament so far is tough, the ultimate frisbee, that a lot of there's a little bit of overlap between those players and BBA. And that's something that we have to understand, that like I think I met a couple of players who showed up in the soccer tournament this weekend, and they've played in previous BBAs, and I was like, hey, why don't you come to BBA? And they're like, yeah, we wanted to try a different sport this year. We wanted to play soccer, so we had to choose if we wanted to, you know, go to BBA or we wanted to go to this soccer tournament. And, so I think we'll have those challenges come in the future as well, where, there's a lot of options for people who want to play sports. There's racquetball, there's cricket, there's soccer, there's basketball, there's,
tennis.
you know, um, tennis, pickleball, the ultimate frisbee, even hiking has also uh, gotten a lot of steam lately. Um, so Alhamdulillah, Muminin are having a lot of options to be active in. We just hope that BBA is still something that a lot of people show up to and keep supporting.
Like even like women's BBA was getting some traction. Is there any progress on that? Tyre?
So I mean, that's not something that's fully currently, it's not under BBA per se. I think it's an initiative by Menaz and Uzma. We're we're helping them, get some feedback, get some responses back. We've we did get I think the feedback survey, there was about 75 plus Beirao
Oh wow.
uh, all over the US, with the age range of teenagers to the mid 40s, right? Similar to how our BBA is. Now, how does that tournament happen, or that event happens? There's, a lot of stuff that needs to be still ironed out and decided, and main thing is कि शरीयत ना जे parameters che बराबर सी upheld रहे. So the bunch of stuff that still needs to be taken in account for women's basketball. But I think inshallah, it can happen. And we've taken the first step in the direction for it to happen.
Yeah, so survey went out and we're looking at responses, and then we're trying to figure out what kind of tournament they want to run and go from there. Um, any final thoughts before we close the podcast?
Is there a
Uh,
city versus city happening?
I don't think city versus city is being planned as of right now. Um, so that will stay tuned for that, I guess, or maybe next year. That comes, I don't know when that comes around. That's just people want to, so all of a sudden they just want to be city versus city pride. And so,
I mean, if we're ending this, I'd like to once again thank Toronto and all of Canada for opening up their homes and their gym for us to come and play basketball there. It was a fun experience, and inshallah, we can do it again in the future. And just can't wait for the next BBA wherever it is.
And on behalf of Toronto and everyone here, and oh, by the way, I want to take this moment to thank the local committee that helped out with this. Imran Arfik helped out. He actually one of the major sponsors. Adnan Yamani, Aziz Jiwaji, Mohsen Yamani. I'm missing one person. I'll get to that. But I want to thank you guys for helping out, because obviously without your help, um, it would have been really hard to try to organize everything over here. So thank you for that.
thank
And
you too. You didn't add yourself to that list.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. I'm just looking into the group here. It's Amar Adamji and Hatim Karimi's not local, but he helped navigate a lot of the stuff as well, that what was required for it to happen here. So I want to thank you all for doing that, and we hope you guys had a blast here, and hopefully we can do it again one
It was
day.
awesome.
Yeah, Raja, pitch Chicago real quick. Why
I
Chicago
mean,
the best?
it sells itself, man. I mean, we've had so many successful tournaments, and it's in the middle of everything, easy flights, and um, nice courts and nice facilities. So, I mean, I think people are comfortable there. So it's just there's less unknowns, and it could just focus on
Easier
the
for you.
B-ball. Easier for me. Yeah, that works out nicely.
No, I say I like Chicago because I'm 0-3 in finals in different cities. I lost in Houston, I lost in Orange County, and I lost in Toronto in the finals. The championships I've won in Chicago. So
You've also
let's go
lost in
back.
Chicago, dude.
I've lost in Chicago, but I've won in Chicago too. So I'm gonna go. I want to go win another one in Chicago.
Dang,
That's because
man,
you played
dude.
there 9 times. You got
Qusay,
that.
man, it's lost everywhere.
I guess he's
All
not
right.
pitching Houston.
All right, thanks for coming on. Have a good night.
You guys, bye.
See you guys.
All right.